I came to the House of Ruth in 2007. I started out here as a housing case manager. What drew me to the House of Ruth, the position as housing case manager, was because I had two family members who actually succumbed to AIDS. As the housing program manager, basically my position entails keeping up on our clients, overseeing that they're getting safe, affordable housing, that they're also attending their medical visits, and that they're overall, taken care of and they're stable in their environments. I actually do a lot of reporting for the agency as far as keeping up with our measures and outcomes. And it's always good to see clients who come in struggling able to succeed, right? That is the end goal, is to see them succeed. And that is a joy that I get as a housing program manager, is the ability to see from start to finish. Working with Kennedy was a challenge. Kennedy was in 2020 at our Glade House, which is our residential facility. Kennedy had a tumultuous time during his period at Glade. But I feel that Kennedy always had a drive and was very driven. He knew what he needed to do for his care, but the challenges face homelessness being one. Kennedy kind of struggled. Kennedy was successful at Glade House and was able to transition to our Homes with Heart program. Kennedy then transitioned to HOPWA, Tenant-Based Rental Assistance Program, and Kennedy began to thrive there with the supports of House of Ruth, with case management, with the food pantry, things that House of Ruth provides for supports. Kennedy got a unit under Section 8, was doing very well. Kennedy had job training programs, had educational programs, and we didn't hear from Kennedy for a while, and Kennedy pops back up at House of Ruth. And Kennedy is wanting to help other clients by giving information about where he is now employed, which is the organization that also helps people with HIV/AIDS. And we were just all delighted to see that although you may come in with problems, that's not how we want you to leave. We want you to leave successful. We want you to leave our programs thriving. And Kennedy is the perfect example of a client who utilized every service that we have for his benefit. And he has benefited tremendously. And just to want to reach back and say, I want to help those like me be in better positions and be in a position to help in such a capacity is great.
I originally learned about the House of Ruth. It was right after I was diagnosed with having HIV. I stopped in and I talked to Miss Dolores, and I was like, I have a job, I'm homeless, I need a place to stay. And she gave me a chance. She's like, call back every morning at 9 o'clock. And I think it took about a week. And I was able to get in there. So I was very lost, scared. I was struggling with my personal demons, addiction. House of Ruth was very supportive to me through that. They helped me find resources for recovery. House of Ruth planted the very first seeds of recovery in me. I never had to worry about a roof over my head. I didn't have to worry about, food to eat. They helped me with navigating like the resources that were available to me, coming fresh off the streets, and also dealing with this HIV diagnosis that was new to me. I don't feel like I would have had the capacity mentally to navigate and use all the resources that was available to me had I not had somebody in my corner, kind of walking me through it. They've assisted me with housing multiple times since then. Like, they put me in in temporary housing. During COVID, they paid my rent and my utilities for 3 years. 3 years, because employment was hard to find. They brought me groceries every week on Fridays. Like, literally, I would not be here today if it wasn't for House of Ruth. I'm a person in long-term recovery now. I have went back to school. I work in recovery. I have my own home that I am able to pay for now. Without the support along the way, I don't know that I would have ever gotten here. Where would I be if the House of Ruth didn't exist? That's a tough one. I believe I probably would have died, to be completely honest. I would not have stayed in HIV care. It's almost impossible for someone to remain in HIV care being homeless. I probably would have stayed on drugs, and I probably would have died sleeping under a viaduct somewhere. So my outlook on my life is I found my purpose in life. I'm not the scared, lost individual that I once was. I found my purpose. I know what I'm here for. I have a clear plan on how I'm going to do it. I have goals that I'm going to achieve. I just started an LGBT ministry. I plan on, just continuing to give back to the community that I came from, and help other people get through what I went through.
My name is Whitney Major. I'm House of Ruth Social Services Specialist. I'm the first person they see when they come into House of Ruth, if they need housing or if they need financial assistance. So they set up an intake appointment with me. I complete the intake where we fill out paperwork that's needed, HIPAA policy, consent forms, and then I complete an assessment with them. With the assessment, it helps us learn about this individual, their background, their drug use, their needs, and their mental health. And so this helps me gauge on how I need to help them. So next step, they are now a client, so they're able to receive our resources. So usually they bring in their lease or their LG&E bill, so I give them those services, and I give them help them be able to go to the pantry, and I give them hygiene items. Then, some people are homeless, and so I tell them the steps to be able to receive housing through House of Ruth. And so they complete their common assessment, do all the steps they need for the common assessment, or I refer them to Glade House. And at that time, they're in a waiting process for housing. And then, I may check in with them what their needs is, if they need resources for schooling or they need childcare. And then in the year, they complete a research packet with me. And, that gives us feedback of where the client is, if they're still living at the same address, if their income changed, what are their needs, and also how we were able to support them. And so what resources, is House of Ruth doing a good job? How can we better serve them? And in that research process, we learn all that about the individual. So I met Mr. Gary at 607 East St. Catherine. So I was probably there about a year, going on a year. And so he was rolling around with his friend, pushing his friend on a wheelchair. And I said, hey, Mr. Gary, how you doing? He's like, I am in need of housing. And so I learned that Mr. Gary is a veteran. And so I made Mr. Gary aware that he can apply for VA benefits. They have a HUD-VASH program. He said, yeah, I was in that program before, but I don't know, something didn't work out. So I gave him the number, told him he needs to get in touch with them. But in the meantime, we may have an opening at Glade House. And Mr. Gary is very responsive. Anything you ask him to do, he does it. I think he would be very successful. He'll be happy. He has found a house that he is looking to move into. And so I think he will be very successful, happy, helpful. He loves to help his friends out in the community. And so I think he would volunteer doing that. And he would just love his place. He loves to make jewelry. I think he would just, make his house look nice, feel homey. He would be making his jewelry and working with his friends.
First and foremost, I was strung out. I was out there on drugs. Okay, when you're a drug addict and you're on the streets, you're not thinking about taking your HIV medication. You're not thinking about your health. Eating, last thing on your mind, you know. And if you do want something, you might dive into a dumpster, you know. And yeah. So anyhow, so they took me off the streets, allowed me to lift myself off the streets, okay, and focus on the things that are important, like nutrition, eating 3 meals a day, bathing, cleaning up. They seem so minute, but they're so important. You know what I mean? Take your medicine at 8 o'clock every day. You know, like, well, that's very, very important. But when you're out there on the streets, taking your medicine at 8 o'clock doesn't mean anything to you. You know, it's the last thing on your mind. As a matter of fact, the only thing on your mind is the next drug, the next fix, the next whatever you're after. That's what's on your mind. The House of Ruth has helped me change my focus, okay, where I no longer need drugs, okay? Instead, focus on the things that I actually do need, you know, like housing, shelter, food, things that's very, very important and vital to you, you know. Without the House of Ruth, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now today. So, yeah, I would probably be dead right now. That's where I would be. I mean, truth be told, there it is. Yeah. The staff is probably the most, likable people you can ever meet. They care. They've helped me do everything that I needed to get done. They have left no stone unturned. They want to see you succeed. That's, I think, the most important thing is they want to see you succeed. And they make certain that you get everything that you have, everything that you need. They're there to support you. You know, that's what the House of Ruth stands for me. Very supportive, very, very supportive.